Well, it's time to tie up this edition of our show. We visited some new and exciting ports.
The city of Denver has mushroomed into a thriving metropolis. Sports plays a big part of Denver's magic, and today it's gymnastics that's in the spotlight, featuring 1988 Olympic all-around finalist Lance Ringnald. Brandy Johnson finished best among the all-around competitors at the Olympic Games. She is one of America's best. And the best gymnast from the Big Eight, Patrick Kirksey. He finished first in the all-around competition at the recently held Big Eight Championships. The winner of the 1989 mixed pairs, Wendy Bruce, teamed up with Li Jing of China for an unbeatable combination. And Conrad Borsinger, currently in 9th place on the national team, is from Stanford, and he's looking to climb in the rankings. This is head-to-head competition. Today, Karen Tierney challenges Brandy Johnson. Brandy impressed everyone by finishing as the best all-around performer at the American Cup. On the men's side, we begin with Lance Ringnald versus Jeff Lutz. Lance Ringnald finished second at the American Cup. Only a Soviet placed higher. The mining days of Denver are over, but today the quest for gold continues. ESPN, the Total Sports Network, and the United States Gymnastics Federation presents the 1989 U.S. Challenge. Today it is show number 1. Karen Tierney challenges Brandy Johnson, while Lance Ringnald goes against Jeff Lutz. Welcome to the Denver Coliseum, where the gymnastics faithful are in store for a real treat in the world of gymnastics. Hello, everyone. I'm Leandra Riley, and this challenge that we've set forth for you is going to be an interesting format. If you don't know anything about gymnastics, it doesn't matter. What you have to keep track of are two gymnasts competing against each other head-to-head, and you in your living room can figure out who's better. The one who's better will move on to the next round. All right, right now, let me introduce one of the best gymnasts in the United States, Olympic gold medalist Bart Connor. And Bart, what do you think of this format, this head-to-head challenge?
I like this format, and I think the gymnasts like it as well, because as we've seen in the past, an important international competition, consistency is the key. This type of format really encourages the athletes to be consistent, or they won't make it to the next round.
All right, let's talk about the gymnasts in our first round. This is the very first show, the very first challenge. It's Lance Ringnald against Jeff Lutz.
Lance is very strong right now. In fact, he is the guy on the U.S. national team. He's consistent, he's strong, and he's very mature as a competitor, and he's only 18 years old. He's going up against Jeff Lutz, who has some outstanding quality. He's great on the rings, he's great on vaulting and high bar, but he'll have his hands full against Lance today.
All right, whoever hits, they're the one that's going to survive. Let's talk about the women's side right now. It's Karen Tierney going up against Brandy Johnson. Brandy, so tough, so strong from that American Cup.
And she is really hot right now. We saw it a few years back when Mary Lou Retton caught fire. We've seen it with Tracy Talavera. We've seen it with Phoebe Mills. Well, Brandy is the girl right now that's really on top of her game. Karen is a strong junior. She's now in the senior ranks, but she's in the big leagues today, and she's going to have a tough competition with Brandy.
Hey, you brought up Mary Lou Retton. When she was in this meet, she played giant killer. She was not expected to win, but she did win this meet back in 1981. All right, let's go to a commercial break. When we come back, we will begin the 1989 U.S. Challenge. Olympics rotation, and men compete on the floor exercise event first. Lance Ringnald, 18 years old, from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Lance Ringnald.
You recently saw him here on ESPN in the mixed pairs competition. He was teamed with Brandy Johnson. They finished 9th in the all-around.
Lance is certainly a very bright young gymnast. He's a strong tumbler, and he uses his acrobatic background, and he carries that over to the other events, particularly like the vault and the high bar. But you'll see how powerful and explosive he is on his opening run. The first move was called a 1.5 twisting 1 and 3. He did it in laid out position. These are flared circles to the splits. Press to a handstand. Look at the flexibility in the straddle position. Lance looks very strong and tends to be a little bulky, and yet it's amazing how flexible he is. He doesn't look like he'd be as loose as he actually is. Front step out through the double full, punch front 1 1/4. He was a little short on that, but he really handled it.
Yeah, I thought he was going to not make it, but he pulled it out.
Head spring front. The guy can do everything. You watch him practice, and he can do just about every trick in the book, and it's fun to see when he composes routines, because he says, well, today I'll do this routine, and tomorrow I'll do that one. Nice high tuck double back and short a little bit. He didn't get his arms up, but he was high.
A hop on the end for Lance Ringnald as he concludes his first apparatus. Again, 6 events for the men, 4 events for the women, just as it is in the Olympic Games. Let's take another look at his floor exercise routine.
He was kind of coasting here a little bit. He's going to do a front step out. Right through. He's a little short there. This is a double twist, and watch this. Punch front 1 1/4, and he barely pulls that around. But that's how talented this guy is. He can pull just about anything out. Here's the tuck double back. You'll notice he's very high. He doesn't quite get his arms up quick enough, and so he's high, but he's short of rotation, and he has to take 1 good hop on the landing. Otherwise, a good exercise for Lance.
We have 2 judges at each event. The score will be posted shortly, and of course we will relay that information to you.
5-5.
And the score that we have for that floor exercise routine is a 9.55. That's Lance Ringnald on the floor exercise event. He has 5 rotations remaining, but his competitor now has a standard to achieve. And Jeff Lutz has heard that score, 9.55, and he knows exactly what he has to do in order to get the good score. Jeff Lutz hails from Houston, Texas. He's 5 feet 5 inches tall.
There's an interesting story about Jeff, actually. He was at the University of Oklahoma on their collegiate program, and in December this year, it was reported that in the Oklahoma media that he had a career-ending wrist injury, and he actually left the University of Oklahoma, went to Houston. After a good opening run of a full in and a second tumbling run of a triple full, he showed good strength in that straddle plunge, front-front combination. As I mentioned earlier, he left Oklahoma University, and they thought he had a career-ending injury, but obviously it wasn't, because he looks very strong here on the floor. He's a very quick, springy tumbler. Last pass, tuck double back, really nice.
Nice tumbling.
That competitor from the University of Oklahoma.
He doesn't have that relaxed expression on his face. I think Lance was a little bit more relaxed out there, but overall, he was very powerful.
Well, there's no question there's a lot of pressure on Jeff because of going up against the #1 guy in the U.S. right now. Round off back handspring, good arm reach, which was a little better than Lance Ringnald's dismount, actually. He had good height and better rotation. Good clean landing.
All right, we have the score now for Jeff Lutz. Again, 9.55 was the score that Lance Ringnald had. 9.540 is the score for Jeff Lutz. So right now, Lance Ringnald holds a slight edge after 1 rotation. We'll be back with more, but first this. And U.S. Challenge through 1 rotation. Right now, Lance Ringnald has a .15 lead over his challenger, Jeff Lutz. Again, it is the winner after 6 rotations that will survive to compete in round number 2, and they will face the winner of Kyle Lozano against Jorge Garcia. Right now, we are going to begin with our women's competition. The women begin with the vault. You are looking at Brandy Johnson as she prepares her warm-up. We had a chance to talk with her earlier. Now, you will recall that Brandy Johnson won the American Cup. Wasn't that long ago that she proved herself to be one of the best American gymnasts around. She outdistanced Olya Dudnik of the Soviet Union. Olya Dudnik was considered to be a favorite, but now it's Brandy Johnson who carries the crown. She talked to us about being #1.
As in the title of being the top gymnast in America, I will gladly take on that title, but I just let my gymnastics, I don't focus on being the #1 gymnast in the United States. I just focus on doing my routines the best I can. If I happen to do that, then that's fine.
And Brandy Johnson, if you saw the opening of our telecast, she was the top all-around finisher at the 1988 Olympic Games in Seoul, Korea. So she is really positioning herself to be America's premier gymnast. She is just 15 years of age. You can see her height and weight, and she competes in Florida.
This is her first of 2 vaults. She'll take the best score of the 2. What could you say? She is so strong. In fact, she's very well known for her powerful tumbling and vaulting skills, but she's really developed into a really fine all-around gymnast. This is a Yurchenko vault, laid out with a full, good push, good clean form in the air, and an excellent landing. What can you say about that?
If you were her coach, what would you be saying to her when she does her second vault?
To tell you the truth, she's more powerful than that. She didn't get the rebound and the block off the horse that she normally gets. Although it was an outstanding vault, she can even do it better.
She is coached by Kevin and Rita Brown of Brown's Gymnastics. Her score for that first vault was 9.925. Now, in women's gymnastics, it is the higher of the 2 vault that will count. They are not averaged together. So if she can better that mark of 9.925, which is going to be tough to do. But you say she can do better.
She can do it. She has posted the number up by where she's vaulting, 491. That means that she's going to do the same vault again. A perfect vault here, of course, can score a perfect 10 because this vault is valued at a 10. Some vaults aren't valued at maximum scores of 10. Some are only 9.7, 9.8, 9.9 maximum. This can be a perfect 10. That was better. Oh, 1 hop on the landing, but she had good height and much better distance from the horse. She is so powerful.
A congratulatory hug from her coach, Kevin Brown.
It's the same vault. She's going to round off here, go back onto the horse. A little better block, but certainly much more distance from the horse. But you can say 1 big hop is going to be a deduction. Not a big deduction, though, because this is still incredible stuff. Once again, round off, and you see she goes backwards onto the horse, lay out full. I've seen her do it better.
That vault received a score of 9.825, and the first vault, which was higher, the 9.925, is the one that will count. And that really sets up a tough challenge for Karen Tierney. We should add that that was a record in this single elimination format. Earlier, we had a chance to speak with young Karen Tierney. She's just 15 years of age. She hasn't had much gymnastics experience, but she spoke about this format.
I think it will show who the strongest gymnasts are and what they're able to do by competing each day.
And how do you think you're going to fare?
I think I'll do pretty good. I'm paired with Brandy Johnson, and she's the best in the United States, so it's going to be kind of a great challenge.
And a tough challenge it is with the record-setting performance of Brandy Johnson. Again, the earlier record was 9.90. It was held by Diane Durham back in 1982. She had set the standard for this meet. And now that record has been broken. Let's see what Karen Tierney can do.
This is going to be a vault called a tucked queer vault. Pretty nice. That's better than I saw her warming it up. She has to be pleased with that one.
Her coach is Stormy Eaton. You can see him there in the background.
This is a vault where she's going to do a handspring onto the horse, going straight, half turn, and then a tucked back flip. Very high. One little problem on the landing. She'll try and stick that landing, of course, on the second vault. She'll be doing the same vault again. Handspring. Good, clean form. That is a very difficult vault to hold good, tight leg form on, but she did a good job.
Vault is being posted 9.65.
And the score for the first vault was 9.65.
Once again, she's going to do the tucked queer vault, same vault, which has a value of 9.9. She'll try to stick it. Good job. How about that? Good block that time, good clean form, and that time she found the landing.
So that should get a little bit higher score than the 9.65 she received for her first vault.
She has good speed here, and right here, boom, a little better block gets her a little higher so she can drop straight down on the landing rather than over-rotating. Different from what we've seen Brandy do. Brandy went backwards onto the horse. Karen went forward onto the horse, handspring, half turn, tuck back, and she's pleased with that one.
And it is 9.625.
And that vault was scored a little bit less than the first vault. It was a 9.625. The first one was a 9.650. It is the first vault that will count in the score. Again, the score she wanted to beat was 9.925. We are continuing now with the men's rotation. We will send you back over